राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your kind association. Let's get started with our study of Granthara Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. जन्मादस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः शार्तेषभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. धर्मः प्रोजितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्. श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलम् शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. स वै पुंसां परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिरधोक्षजे अहैतुक्यप्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति. वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान् इति शब्दते. अतः पुंभिर्द्विजश्रेष्ठा वर्णाश्रम विभागशः स्वनुष्ठितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. एते चांशकलः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयं इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे. तद्वाग्विसर्गो जनताघ विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमभद्वत् अपि नामानन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. यस्यां वै श्रूयमाणायां कृष्णे परमपुरुषे भक्तिरुत्पद्यते पुंसः शोकमोहभयापहा. आत्मा रामाश्च मुनयो निर्ग्रन्था पुरुक्रमे कुर्वन्त्यः हेतु किं भक्तिम् इत्थं भूतगुणो हरिः. त्वयि म्यनन्यविषया मतिर्मधुपते सकृ द्रतिम् उद्वहता दद्धा गङ्गेवौघमुदन्वति. उद्दाम भाव पिशुनामलवल्गुहासा व्रीडावलोकनिहतो मदनो पियासाम् सम्मुह्य चापमजहात् प्रमदोत्तमास्ता यस्येन्द्रियं विमथितुं कुहकैर्न शेकुः भवद्विधा भागवता तीर्थभूता स्वयं विभो तीर्थि कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि स्वान्तस्तेन गदावृता तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गि सङ्गस्य मर्त्यानां किमुताशिषः तिरस्कृता विप्रलब्धा क्षप्ता क्षिप्ता हतापि नास्य तत्प्रतिकुर्वन्ति तद्भक्ताः प्रभवोऽपि पुनश्च भूयात् भगवदनन्ते रतिप्रसङ्गश्च तदाश्रयेषु महत्सु यां यामुपयामि सृष्टिं मैत्रस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः एतावान् सांख्ययोगाभ्यां स्वधर्म परिनिष्ठया जन्मलाभः परः पुंसाम् अन्ते नारायण स्मृतिः अकाम सर्वकामो वा मोक्षकाम उदारधि तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुषं परम् अहमेवासमेवाग्रे नान्यद्यत् सदसत्परम् पश्चादहं यदेतच्च यो वशिष्येत सोऽस्म्यहम् हृत्यर्थं यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विद्यादात्मनो मायां यथा भासो यथा तमः यथा महान्ति भूतानि भूतेषु चावशेष्वनु प्रविष्टान्यप्रविष्टानि तथा तेषु न तेषुहम् एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यं तत्त्वजिज्ञासुनात्मनः अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत्सत् सर्वत्र सर्वदा अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणमूतयः मन्वन्तरेशानुकथा निरोधो मुक्तिराश्रयः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So dear devotees, we are continuing our study of Granthara Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, entitled Purusha Sukta Confirmed, text 7 onwards. Lord Brahmaji is describing to Shripad Narad Muni the glories of the Supreme Lord, the different energies of the Supreme Lord, the creative potency of the Supreme Lord. Vikramo bhur-bhuva swascha kshemasya sharanasya cha sarvakama varasyapi hares charana aspadam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Lord Brahmaji is saying, thus the forward steps of the Lord are the shelter for the upper, lower, and heavenly planets, as well as for all that we need. The supreme shelter is the forward steps of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. His lotus feet serve as protection from all kinds of fear. Hares Charana Aspadam, the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Purport. For absolute protection from all sorts of fear, as well as for all our needs of life, we must take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Not only in this planet, but also in all the upper, lower, and heavenly planets. No matter who we are, no matter where we are, we have to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the supreme shelter. We just recited the verse that describes the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the last 10th topic is Ashraya. Krishna is the ultimate Ashraya. Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. This absolute dependence on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna is called pure devotional service. Complete dependence on Krishna. Goptritve Varana. And it is directly hinted at within this passage that taking shelter of Krishna is pure devotional service. No one should have any kind of doubt in this matter, nor should one be inclined to seek the help of any other demigods, because all of them are dependent on Krishna only. Everyone except the Lord himself, Krishna himself. Everyone except Krishna himself is dependent on the mercy of Lord Krishna. Even the all-pervading super soul is also dependent on the supreme aspect of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, which means Krishna is saying that Brahman and Paramatma aspect of Krishna depends on Bhagavan. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto, I become Paramatma. And Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratishtha aham, I am the support and the basis of the Brahman also. So Bhagavan is the fundamental form of the supreme absolute truth. Text 8. Apam viryasya sargasya parjanyasya prajapate pumsah shishna upasthastu prajat ananda nirvrite. From the Lord's genitals originate water, semen, generatives, rains, and the procreators, Prajapatis. Lord's genitals are the cause of a pleasure that counteracts the distress of begetting children. There is a pain in begetting children, the labor pain. And there is also a pain in bringing up the children. We have to keep awake at night. They cry, they fall sick, take them to pediatrician, take them for their shots, keep them safe. So many problems are there in giving birth to a child and to bring up the child. But the parents go through this because there is a pleasure in procreation. There is a pleasure in gratifying the genitals. And also, there is attachment in the Grahastha ashram. There is attachment to one's kith and kin. And there is always an expectation that I will get pleasure from this relationship. The children will someday make me proud. The children will take care of me in old age. The children will play with me. I will get some enjoyment from this relationship with my children. So, children are produced so that we can become happy. We can get happiness from that. Security, happiness. There's hardly anyone who produces a child as a service to Guru and Krishna. That is very rare. But that is the standard. So here, Lord Brahmaji, who is the creator, is saying that the pleasure is also coming from the genitals of the Virat Roop of Lord Vishnu. Purport. The genitals and the pleasure of begetting children counteract the distresses of family encumbrances. One would cease to produce children altogether if there were not a coating, a pleasure-giving substance on the surface of the genitals by the grace of Lord Krishna. Krishna has made this arrangement that there is a certain pleasure. That's how the species continue. This substance gives a pleasure so intense that it counteracts fully the distress of family responsibilities and family problems, family encumbrances. A person is so captivated by this pleasure-giving substance of the genitals that he is not satisfied by begetting a single child, but increases the number of children with great risk in regard to maintaining them, simply for this pleasure-giving substance. Because there is a pleasure in intercourse, again and again, there is union between husband and wife, and so many children are produced. This pleasure-giving substance is not false. See, it is coming from the Virat Roop. The pleasure of sexual intercourse is coming from the Virat Roop. This pleasure-giving substance is not false. However, because it originates from the transcendental body of the Lord. See, if someone says that the pleasure of sex life is really great, then we can explain that, see, that pleasure is also coming from Krishna only. So if one small fragmental particle of Krishna's opulence can give such pleasure that the whole world is mad after it, imagine how much pleasure we will get by directly serving Krishna, from whom all these different types of pleasures are coming. The pleasure of eating tasty food, pleasure of hearing nice, pleasure of sexual intercourse comes under the pleasure of the skin, pleasure of smelling fragrances. So all these 5 senses that we have, skin, eyes, nose, ears, and tongue, they give a certain pleasure. And this pleasure is created by Krishna for us. But imagine if we directly serve Krishna, how much pleasure we'll get. So it is like this. Somebody has got a huge company and our paychecks are coming from the owner of the company. And we are satisfied. Oh, this year I made $350,000. Yes, I am a rich man. I'm in the top 1% of USA. But imagine if you become a family member of the owner of the company, who is a multi-billionaire. How much? Then everything is yours. So similarly, Krishna gives himself to the devotee. If these little toys that Krishna is giving us in the material world, if we are very much captivated by them, imagine how much pleasure we'll get by serving Krishna. That is what the acharyas are saying, that this is tuchha. Adyantavanta kauntya na teshu ramate buddha. On the other hand, param drishtva nivartate. The pleasure from Krishna is so superior that one will not, like Srila Yamunacharya says, I spit at the thought of sense gratification now, after I have tasted the joy of serving Krishna. So this pleasure is not false because it originates in the transcendental body of the Lord, Lord Vishnu. In other words, the pleasure-giving substance is a reality. So what is the problem then? The problem is, but it has taken on an aspect of pervertedness on account of material contamination. What is the perversion? That I am the enjoyer. Bhokta aham iti manyate. You think I am the enjoyer. But Krishna says, Bhoktaram yadava sarvaloka maheshwaram. Suridam sarvabhutanam nyatvam mam shanti mrichat. Krishna says, I am the Bhokta. I am the enjoyer. But in the material world, unfortunately, we start thinking that I am the Bhokta. I am the enjoyer. That is the perversion. But it has taken on an aspect of pervertedness on account of material contamination. Material contamination is that I am the enjoyer. In the material world, sex life is the cause of many distresses on account of material contact. See, even if it is done in the marriage, there are problems because, well, not problem, but there are effects. There are children. Now children, they have so many things that have to be done for the children. And it just makes us more and more entangled. Can anybody deny this? That when there are children in a family life, we get more and more entangled in material thoughts, material desires, material pursuits, material goals, material responsibilities. So in the material world, sex life is the cause of many distresses on account of material contact. Therefore, the sex life in the material world should not be encouraged beyond the necessity. If somebody is married in a Vedic way and they want to have children within the marriage so that they can bring them up in a Krishna conscious way and make their children an offering to the society, that I will make nice, pious Vaishnava children and that will be my contribution to the society, then it is good. Then it is okay. But beyond that, one should not increase. So somebody asking for Viagra, Cialis, all the stimulants, taking aphrodisiacs, this is completely artificial. Taking testosterone supplements, this is completely artificial. testosterone level naturally reduces as we age. So the muscle mass in a man is going to decrease. But nowadays, there are rampant advertisements that men beyond 40, check your testosterone level. Oh, your testosterone level is low. Take testosterone pellets, get them implanted, take testosterone shots, and regain your manhood. Your muscle mass will increase, your sex drive will increase. Everywhere there are these advertisements. Even doctors are promoting it. So this is all wrong. It is physiologically normal that as a man ages, the testosterone level is going to go down. So the libido is supposed to go down because we are supposed to become detached from this body. And therefore, a man's body is supposed to become less agile and less muscular. It is meant to be like that. But unfortunately, they show photos of an old man face, takla, wrinkles on the face, and big, big muscles. I take testosterone, like that. So everybody's thinking, oh, this is a disease that my testosterone level is low. Let me take supplements. This is a propaganda of Kali Yuga. They want to reverse the aging. Now there is a new specialty in medicine, anti-aging. Anti-aging specialty. Anti-aging medicine. It's a proper specialty after internal medicine. What anti-aging? It's purely cosmetic and it's purely Maya. We cannot stop aging. We cannot stop time. Krishna is time. Time is Krishna. Kalosmi. Krishna says, how can you reverse the effects of time? Time is going to have effect on the material body and we should accept it. And Krishna has designed it in such a beautiful way that as we age, the body becomes less attractive. This body gives us pain. There is arthritis. Nowadays, I cannot read like this. First, I used to read. Now I have to keep it a little far. So now I know. They say in Marathi, chalishi lagli. When you hit the 40s, then chashma aata hai. You need reading glasses. You become far-sighted. You lose your near-sightedness. You become mature, you become far-sighted. You look after Shreyas, not prayers. So all these things happen. Why the body is doing this? So that we become detached from this body. Sharira avidyajal. This body is a source of so much problem. And we should become detached in our old age from this body. But if you start taking Botox shots, facelift, the body is giving up, but you somehow want to increase your attachment to the body. No. Attachment to the body should be only for the service of Krishna. Hanumanji doesn't want to die. Hanumanji does not want to give up his body. For one reason only, that Prabhu Shri Ram has embraced this body. My Ram has embraced this body, so I don't want to give up this body. असं काही श्रीपती कंठ लगावे. He embraced Shripati Ram, embraced Hanumanji. Tum mama priya bharata hi samabhai. You're as dear to me as Bharat kam, and he embraced. So he don't want to give up the body. This body was embraced by Ram. And that type of attachment to the body is good. But our attachment, so I can attract people, I can look beautiful, I can look handsome, I can impress people. People will say, "Arey yaar, you're 43, you look 35. Feels so good, you made my day." बोलते रहो, बोलते रहो. अमृत प्रवाह हो रहा है आपके श्रीमुख से, बोलते रहो. This simply attachment, we are increasing the attachment to this body. We are supposed to take care of the body. It's a vehicle given to us. It's a machine. But the way Krishna has designed that as we age, this body has to become more and more disgusting. And we have to become detached from this body instead of trying to make it more attractive and impress people with that body and increase our sense gratification with that body. I took hormones and now I can enjoy sex life for 15 more years than you. I am saying all this because I see patients in their 50s and 60s and even 70s who ask me for these, who make such requests. So Prabhupada is saying, therefore the sex life in the material world should not be encouraged beyond the necessity. There is a necessity for generating progeny, even in the material world. But such generation of children must be carried out with full responsibility for spiritual values. Pitana sasya, jananina satsya. No right to become a mother and a father. Na muchyate samupeta mrutyum. If we cannot give them liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Spiritual values, responsibility should be there for the parents. Yena kena prakaran. Somehow we should equip our children, give them the opportunities and give them the infrastructure and the resources so that they can go back home, back to God in this lifetime. If we cannot do that, then we have no right to produce children. The spiritual values of life can be realized in the human form of material existence. And the human being must adopt family planning with reference to the context of spiritual values and not otherwise. So family planning with reference to the context of spiritual values and not otherwise. I'll be very happy if someone can explain what Prabhupada is saying here. Then I will know that you are all listening attentively. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes, Saroja Nandini Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. So what Prabhupada is meaning here is that as over a period of time, when we become really very much attached to Krishna and become more and more increase our love and attachment for Krishna, naturally our lower taste will subside. So that way, natural family planning will happen rather than artificially doing it. Super. This is excellent. One aspect. And what is the other aspect? Mukta Sangha Prabhu? This is one aspect, very important. Sarojanani Matri, perfect. And there is one more angle to it.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, my video is not working somehow today.
No problem, Prabhu. I was missing seeing you. But that's fine.
I tried all the means, but it's still not working. So the family planning means that we have to have a relation, physical relation, only to beget Krishna conscious children. And once we beget Krishna conscious children, then Srila Prabhupada in one of the preaching sessions, he says, no more sex. That's it.
Correct.
So
correct. So now my question is, suppose someone doesn't have the spiritual means to give Krishna consciousness to the children, then should such a person produce children?
No.
That is second. So one aspect is what Mataji said, Sarojanandini Mataji, that as we make spiritual progress, the lower tastes go away and naturally family planning will come. And the second aspect is, like what you said, that it should be only for procreation of children and to bring them up in a Krishna conscious way. If we don't have means to give them Krishna consciousness, then we should not have. That is a family planning. So family planning is there. One must adopt, Prabhupada, a human being must adopt family planning. How? With reference to the context of spiritual values. If you cannot give spiritual values, don't have children. Not otherwise. What is the meaning of not otherwise? Family planning, not otherwise. What is that meaning? Kirtha Sundari Mataji. Which family planning Prabhupada is referring to now?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, what I could feel about this sentence is that it's not only about begetting children, but what I feel is Prabhupada is saying that you have to plan ahead about your family, not to get entangled. क्या अभी बच्चे देख रहे हैं, फिर बच्चों के बच्चे देख रहे हैं, you know.
Kailash, it will happen like Kailash.
Yeah, like happened with Kailash. So better to plan properly that, okay, kids are done, responsibilities done. So now I should do my bhajan, proper.
Also, they have to detach from. Yes, and so many examples in Bhagavatam. Dhritarashtra, Vidur just leave now.
Yes.
And Yayati Maharaj. Who else? Pururava. With Urvashi.
Yeah, Pururava, yeah.
They got disgusted after all. Okay. So family planning, not otherwise. So family planning should be based on spiritual values, in reference to spiritual values, but family planning, not otherwise. Who can explain this more? Shyam Chandra Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So here I think Prabhupada is trying to explain that there should not be any artificial means for family planning. No contraceptives, no those kind of things.
Yes, Prabhuji. Very good. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Because see, what Prabhupada explained and the verse explained, that in this act, there is pleasure. But with that pleasure comes a responsibility, because that pleasure is going to produce an effect, that is children. What is the modern family planning? That you enjoy the act, but get rid of the consequences. take this pill, use this device, there will be no child. Just enjoyment. No responsibility. And if there is a effect of the enjoyment, abort. That is what Prabhupada is saying. That is not allowed, not otherwise. The degraded form of family restriction by use of contraceptives, etc., is the grossest type of material contamination. Prabhupada is saying. Materialists who use these devices want to fully utilize the pleasure potency of the coating of the genitals by artificial means without knowing the spiritual importance. That there may be a jiva in the sperm, in the semen, who wants to get a human body, but you don't want the responsibility, so you're depriving. And without knowledge of spiritual values, the less intelligent man tries to utilize only the material sense pleasure of the genitals, not the responsibility. So what are some of the reflections from this verse? Some reflections are that this whole world is called Maithun Agar. It's a jail based on sensual attraction. We are attracted to someone's body. Nowadays, it doesn't even have to be opposite sex. Sometimes it can be same sex also. So, but all these attractions to anybody's body, same sex body, opposite sex body, it's all wrong. Attraction on the basis of the body, physical body, gross body, is a material contamination. Attraction should be on the level of the soul. That is bodhayanta parasparam, kathayantascha mam nityam, tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That kind of enjoyment is there, based on Krishna consciousness, on the level of the soul. Text 9. Payuryamasya mitrasya parimokshasya narada himsaya nirter mrityor nirayasya gudam smritaha. O Narad, the evacuating outlet, gudam, means the anus, rectum, the evacuating outlet of the universal form, Virata Roop, of the Lord, is the abode of the controlling deity of death. Yamasya. Mitra and the evacuating hole and the rectum of the Lord is the place of envy, misfortune, death, hell, etc. Himsaya, nirte, mrityo, nirayasya. The anus or the rectum is the abode, the controlling deity of envy, misfortune, death, hell, etc. So basically everything has its origin in Krishna. Now we have to understand this. So one reflection is that the sex pleasure is there because Krishna has created it like that. It originates in Krishna. But it should be according to dharma. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Balam balavatam cha aham kama raga vivarjitam dharma aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmin bharatarsham. That, hey Arjun, best among the descendants of Maharaj Bharat, Bharatarshabha, O Arjun, I am that sex life which is not against dharma, which means to produce Krishna conscious children. That coming from me. But we should not misuse it. Now all these things like envy, misfortune, death, hell, they are also having their origin in Krishna only. In the anus, rectum of the Virata Roop. Text 10. Parabhuter adharmasya tamasaschapi paschimaha nadyo nadanadinam cha gotranam asti samhati. The back of the Lord is the place of all kinds of frustration and ignorance, as well as for immorality. From the Virata Roop's veins flow the great rivers and rivulets, rivers and streams. And from his bones, asthi, from the bones of Virat Roop, are stacked the great mountains. So rivers are the veins, blood vessels of the Virat Roop, and the big mountains like Mount Everest and others, they are the skeletal system, the bones of the Virat Roop. In the purport, few sentences down, Srila Prabhupada says, ignorance is the backside of the Lord. That is the meaning of Krishna Bahirmukh, when we turn away from Krishna. So ignorance is the tamasa, or the darkness. Ignorance is the backside of the Lord. And therefore, the ignorance of the less intelligent class of men is also not separate from the bodily conception of the Virat Roop. You see, everything has its origin in Krishna. The perfect description of the Lord holds that the Lord is both impersonal and personal simultaneously. The personality of Godhead is the original feature of the Lord. Bhagavan Swarup is the original, and his impersonal emanation is but the reflection of his transcendental body. The Brahma Jyoti is a reflection of his transcendental body. Text 11. Avyakta rasa sindhunam bhutanam nidhanasya cha udaram viditam pumso hridayam manasa padam. The impersonal feature of the Lord is the abode of great oceans, and his belly is the resting place for the materially annihilated living entities. His heart is the abode of the subtle material bodies of living beings. Thus, it is known by the intelligent class of men. So what do the intelligent class of men know? What do they understand? They understand that the impersonal feature of the Lord is the abode of the great oceans, and the belly of the Lord, Udaram, is the resting place for the materially annihilated living entities. When everything is destroyed, everything goes into the belly of Krishna. His heart is the abode of the subtle material bodies of living beings. Heart, which means the mind, intelligence, the subtle bodies, they come from the heart of the Virat Roop. Purport. Now, this is a very beautiful purport, like all the purports. So I want one of you all to read. So Shama Kishori Mataji, you start reading the purport. I'll get few of you all to read. So I'll pause you. Then Nitya Gaurangi Mataji, you can also read after that. And then Naveen Radha Mataji, you can read, okay? I want three of you all to read one third of this purport. Beautiful purports are coming. Okay, start Mataji.
Hare Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.17-18, it is stated that according to human calculations, 1 day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 ages of 4 millenniums.
What is the meaning of one? What is the meaning of 4 millenniums?
4 yuga cycles.
Correct. So Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Okay.
4.3 million years each, and the same period is calculated to be his night also.
So Sahasra Yuga is the day, Sahasra Yuga is the night.
Brahma lives for 100 such years and then dies.
So 100 years of Brahmaji means how many months are there in 1 month, in 1 year of Brahmaji? 12. And each month has 30 days. And each day is a day and night. And 1 day is 1,000 yuga cycles. Same duration of the night. 30 days, 1 month. 12 months, 1 year. 100 years like that. He lives. Okay. Then the Brahma dies. After 100 years of Brahma, Brahmaji dies. Okay. Then what happens?
A Brahma, who is generally a great devotee of the Lord.
A Brahma lives
for 100 years. Years and then dies. A Brahma, who is generally a great devotee of the Lord, attains liberation after such a downfall.
Okay, stop. So downfall means the death of Brahmaji. Not downfall means, don't think spiritual downfall, just the death. So Brahmaji then goes to Vaikuntha, gets liberation. Okay, then what happens? Now the next Mataji, what happens after that? The universe?
The universe, called the Brahmanda, or the round football-like domain controlled by a Brahma, is thus annihilated, and thus the inhabitants of a particular planet or of the whole universe are also annihilated.
So what is the meaning of Brahma Anda? That is explained, Prabhupada explains.
So it's a universe which is egg-shaped. So that's why it is called Anda.
And why it is called Brahma Anda?
Because each universe has one Brahma who is
Very
the
good.
creator. So,
Okay. Okay. Then everybody, so when Brahmaji dies, it's not that Brahmaji will die and we will be here talking. So Brahmaji ka nidhan ho gaya. No, we will also be dead. When the Brahmaji of that Brahmanda dies, all of us are finished also.
So Prabhuji, this says inhabitants of a particular planet or of the whole universe
So
are
all
also
planets, each individual planet and the whole universe, all the jivas die. It's not that Brahmaji died and Indra is living. When Brahmaji dies, the entire Brahmanda is annihilated. It's finished. Because everything is going to enter into Lord Vishnu. Okay.
Avyakta mentioned here in this verse means the night of Brahma, when partial annihilation takes place and the living entities of that particular Brahmanda up to the planets of Brahmaloka along with the big oceans, etc., all repose in the belly of the Virat Purusha.
So see, in the 12th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, it is nicely explained. There are 4 types of pralay. So there is a partial annihilation at the night of Brahma, when Brahmaji goes to sleep. At that time also, there is no activity going on in the universe. Everything is in the belly of the Viratru. And then when Brahmaji wakes up, again, the partial annihilation that took place, that is reversed by Brahmaji, and again the universe starts working for the whole day of Brahma. Again at night, everything becomes avyakta. But then there's a partial pralay, but the complete pralay takes place when Brahmaji dies. And then also there's a nitya pralay described in the 12th canto. Nitya pralay is what? Who can explain? Yes, Satyarupama Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just trying. Is it that every moment we are dying?
Correct. Every moment there is degeneration because of the time factor. That is called Nitya Pralay. Okay, very good. So the third Mataji now.
At the end of the Brahma's night, the creation again takes place, and the living entity reserved within the belly of the Lord are let loose to play their receptive parts as if being awakened from a deep slumber.
When Brahmaji goes to sleep at night, everybody also is in a state of slumber. And when Brahmaji wakes up, again everything is let loose again. Okay, since
the living entities are never destroyed, the annihilation of the material world does not annihilate the existence of the living entities. But until liberation is attained, one has to accept one material body after another, again and again.
Very clear,
the human
right?
Life, yes.
The jiva cannot be destroyed. Ajo nityo shashvatayam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. But priti na yavat mama vasudeve na muchyate deha yogena tavat. As long as we don't develop love for Krishna, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Okay.
The human life is meant for making a solution to this repeated change of bodies and thereby attaining a place in a spiritual sky, where everything is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. In other words,
right? The spiritual world. In other words?
In other words, the subtle forms of the living entities take place in the heart of Supreme Being, and such forms take tangible shape at the time of creation.
So subtle bodies means our desires, our mind, intelligence,
ego,
false ego. And then this subtle body, and when the creation takes place, we get a gross form. Somebody is in the mode of ignorance. They may get the life of a grizzly bear or a polar bear, where many months in a year they are just sleeping. So like that, depending on our modes, we get a tangible body when creation takes place. And then we continue based on karma. Okay, text 12. Dharmasya mamatubhyam cha kumaranam bhavasya cha vidnyasya cha sattvasya parasyatma parayanam. Also, the consciousness of that great personality is the abode of religious principles. Who is the great personality we are talking about? Raise your hand. Yes, Nitya Leela Gaurangi Mataji. Ha, Virat Purush. Very good. Also, the consciousness of that great personality is the abode of religious principles. Mine, Brahmaji is saying, mine, yours, and those of the Chatush Kumar, the 4 brahmacharis, 4 bachelors. Sanaka Kumar, Sanatan Kumar, Sanat Kumar, and Sanandan Kumar. Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanat Kumar, and Sanandan Kumar. That consciousness is also the abode of truth and transcendental knowledge. So the consciousness of the Virat Roop is the abode of religious principles for everyone, for Brahmaji, for Devarshis, or all the Maharshis, for everyone. So now Janani Mataji, 13 to 16, please. You can read the verses. Aham Bhavan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Aham Bhavan Bhavaschaiva Taime Munayo Grajah Surasura Nara Nagaha Kagha Mruga Sarispraha Gandharvapsaraso Yaksha Raksho Bhuta Ganoragaha Pashavaha Pitaraha Siddhaha Vidyadharas Charanadrumaha Anye cha vivida jiva Jalasthala nabhaukashah Griharksha ketavastaras Taditaha sanayitnamaha Sarvam purusha evedam Bhutam bhavyam bhavachayat Tenedam avratam vishvam Vitashtim aditishtati.
Thank you, Mataji. Beginning from me, Brahma is saying, beginning from me down to you, Narad, and to Bhava, Lord Shiva, all the great sages who were born before you, the demigods, the demons, the nagas, the human beings, the birds, the beasts, as well as all the reptiles, etc., and all phenomenal manifestations of the universes, namely the planets, stars, asteroids, luminaries, lightning, thunder, and the inhabitants of the different planetary systems, namely the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Rakshas, Bhutaganas, Uragas, Uraga means different serpents, snakes, Pashus, Pitas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, and all other different varieties of living entities, including the birds, beasts, trees, and everything that be, are all covered by the universal form of the Lord at all times. Everything is covered by the universal form of the Lord, the Virat Roop, at all times, namely past, present, and future. Although he is transcendental to all of them, eternally existing in a form not exceeding 9 inches. Which is this form of the Virat Roop? Which is transcendental? Paramatma. Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Yes. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his partial representation measuring not more than 9 inches as Supersoul, Paramatma, expands by his potential energy in the shape of the universal form, Virat Roop. So, Kshirodakshay Vishnu only, one of his forms is the Virat Roop, which includes everything manifested. Sab prakat jagat mein jo bhi hai, that is in the Virat Roop included. So, manifested. The Virat Roop, universal form, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic and inorganic materials. Even all this plastic that we are producing, nothing is separate from the Virat Roop. It's all in the Virat Roop only. We cannot create anything. Everything is within Krishna. In fact, in other words, nothing is separate from Krishna. The manifested varieties of the universe are therefore not different from the Lord. See, not different from the Lord. Just as golden ornaments, earring, finger ring, nose ring, different shapes, different sizes and forms, they are non-different from the big gold mine, from where that gold came. Everything rests on the potency of Lord Shri Krishna, and still Lord Krishna is different from and is transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purusha Sukta of the Rig Mantra, this is also confirmed. This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is known as Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. What is the Tattva? That because everything is coming from Krishna, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Mata Sarvam Pravartate, everything is non-different from Krishna. Is there anything in this world that is separate from Krishna? No. Everything is coming from Krishna. But at the same time, Krishna says, Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto. I am akhilatma bhuto. I am present everywhere. But Goloka eva nivasati. But I always remain in my Golok Vrindavan with Radharani, with my Manjaris and the Sakhis and Sakhas. So Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in everything. Everything is in Krishna. But at the same time, Krishna has his own separate abode also. Tadhama paramam mama. Like that. So he's one with everything and yet he's different. So there is bhed, difference, and there is abhed, non-difference. And this is achintya. Inconceivable. Cannot understand. How someone can be separate also and non-different also. So achintya. Brahma, Narad, and all others are simultaneously one with the Lord and different from the Supreme Lord also. Now listen, we are all one with Krishna. Just as gold ornaments are one in quality with the big gold mine, stock of gold. But the individual gold ornaments can never be equal in quantity to the stock of gold. So we are infinitesimal, small. Krishna is Brihad Chidvastu, we are Anu Chidvastu. This fact is inconceivable to our present imperfect senses. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable. नहीं समझ सकते हम, नहीं कल्पना कर सकते, अचिंत्य है, inconceivable है. It is inconceivable. And as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's theory of achintya bheda bhed tattva is the perfect philosophy of the absolute truth. Because it synthesizes Shripad Adi Shankaracharya's philosophy of impersonalism, Advaitavad, and it synthesizes the philosophy of the four Vaishnava Acharyas also. Shri Nimbarkaditya, Shripad Ramanujacharya, Shri Vishnu Swami, and Shri Madhvacharya. Their philosophy of Vishishta Advait or Dvaitavad or Dvaita Advaitavad, all these different philosophies are synthesized in Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. Everything is reconciled. So it is a perfect philosophy. 17 verse. Mataji, Janani Mataji. You are on mute, Mataji, still. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Swadishnyam pratapan prano bahishcha pratapati aso evam virajam pratapam tapati antarbahi puman.
The sun illuminates both internally and externally by expanding its radiation, its rays, its light. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding his universal form, Virat Roop, maintains everything. Hare Krishna. Maintains everything in the creation, both internally and externally. Externally, Krishna is maintaining by giving us his external energy. Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, he's giving us air, oxygen, water, heat, light, we are surviving. And internally, he's there as the Paramatma. There is a living force. Therefore, we are able to live. So, internal and externally, Krishna is maintaining us, both from within and without. Purport. The universal form of the Lord. Muktasanga Prabhu, you read, and then Shamchandra Prabhu, read, both of you. Where is Muktasanga Prabhu? Now he has become Vyakta, he was Avyakta.
Thank you. The universal form of the Lord, or the impersonal feature of the Lord known as Brahmajyoti, is clearly explained here and compared to the radiation of the sun.
So what is the comparison? That just like the sun spreads its rays everywhere, but still the sun is there as a sun planet. Similarly, Krishna is there in Goloka Dham, but through his brilliance, his radiance, he is present everywhere and he's maintaining everything. Okay?
The sunshine may expand all over the universe, but the source of the sunshine, namely the sun planet or deity known as Surya Narayana, is the basis of such radiation.
So imagine if there was no sun, would we be surviving on Earth? It will be a frozen planet, dark. We will not survive. No life will exist. So sun is maintaining us even from a distance. Similarly, Krishna may be in Golok Vrindavan, but he is maintaining us. Without Krishna, we cannot live. Okay?
Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is the basis of the impersonal Brahmajyoti radiation, or the impersonal feature of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14.27. So the universal form of the Lord is the secondary imagination of the impersonal form of the Lord, but the primary form of the Lord is Shyama Sundara with two hands playing on his eternal flute.
This is very beautiful. That the Brahmajyoti is there, but the source of Brahmajyoti is Shyam Sundar, Sarva Karana Karanam. It's Krishna, Govinda. And he's always two-handed and he's playing his flute. Ramchandra Prabhu, you continue now.
75% of the expansive radiation of the Lord is manifested in the spiritual sky. Prabhu, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu. Loud
Okay.
and clear. Very nice.
Sorry, yeah. 75% of the expansive radiation of the Lord is manifested in the spiritual sky, which is Tripad Vibhuti.
So what is the meaning of
25%.
this, Prabhuji? What is the meaning of this? 3/4?
So that is the entire creation. Out of that, 75%, that is which is called as Tripad Vibhuti, is the spiritual sky.
Perfect.
And 25% of his personal radiation comprehends the entire expansion of the material universes. This is also explained and stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.42. Thus, the 75% expansion of his radiation is called as internal energy, whereas the 25% expansion is called external energy of the Lord.
Isn't this beautiful? Such a nice Siddhanta Prabhu explaining. So from Krishna's one aspect, the impersonal aspect as Brahmajyoti, Brahman, effulgence is coming out. Because Krishna has three aspects: Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. And Brahmano hi pratishtha aham, Krishna says, I am the basis of the Brahmajyoti. So Brahmajyoti is coming out. 75% of the Brahmajyoti, which is Krishna Shakti, is Antaranga Shakti. We always wonder, what is Antaranga Shakti? So 75% of this Shakti that is coming out as Brahmajyoti, 75% is the Antaranga Shakti. 25% is the Bahiranga Shakti. Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayur, Kham, Manu, Buddhi, Revacha, Ahankar, Ityame, Bhinna Prakriti, Ashtada. This Bhinna Prakriti, Bahiranga Prakriti is only 25% of that energy that is coming out. Please continue, Prabhuji.
Yeah. The living entities who are residents of the spiritual as well as the material expansions are his marginal energy, that is Tatastha Shakti.
Okay, so I say that the jivas in this material world are products of Tatastha Shakti. Yes or no? Jivas, all of us, are products of Krishna's Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency. Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up if yes, or do like this if no. Correct. But the jivas in the spiritual world, they are not part of the Tatastha Shakti. They are part of the internal potency of Krishna. The jivas in the spiritual world. Yes or no? Mata is doing like this. Shamagishri Matari. She's Tatastha. Okay, good. Even the Nitya Siddhas in the spiritual world are also part of the Tatastha Shakti. This Prabhupada is saying. Prabhuji, can you read it again so everybody understands?
Yes. Yeah. So the living entities who are residents of the spiritual as well as the material expansions are his marginal energy, which is Tatastha Shakti. And they are at liberty to live in either of the energies, either external or internal.
We have a choice. We can either connect with Krishna through reading Bhagavad Gita, Srīmad Bhāgavatam, or we can pick up Times of India. Or we can pick up film fare. Like that. Choice is ours. Internal energy, external energy.
Those who live within the spiritual expansion of the Lord are called liberated souls.
Means Tripad. Those who live in the Tripad Vibhuti.
Whereas the residents of the external expansions are called the conditioned souls.
Who are we?
Conditioned souls. At least I am conditioned soul.
Right now.
We can just make an estimate of the number of residents of the internal expansions in comparison with the number of residents in the external energy, and may easily conclude that the liberated souls are far more numerous than the conditioned souls.
So Bhakt adhik hai ki abhakt adhik hai?
Bhakt.
But then why Krishna is saying Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschidati Siddhate? Why Krishna is saying that that's a devotee is Sudurlabha? What is that? Narayana Parasarve Nakutas. Nahi. What is that verse? Sudurlabha Kotishapi Mahamune. Sudurlabha Prashantatma Kotish Api Mahamune. That a devotee is very, very rare. So why like this? If devotees are, who can answer? Raise your hand. If devotees are more than non-devotees, why Krishna is saying like this? That a devotee is very rare. Yes, Mataji.
Material world, maybe.
Huh?
In
the material world?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So you go to a jail. Let's say we are in a jail where all the criminals are kept. And we tell Mukta Sangha Prabhu, ये जेल में एक ऐसे व्यक्ति को ढूंढो जिसने कभी 4 नियमों का उल्लंघन नहीं किया है. Find some person, some prisoner in this jail who has never broken the 4 regulative principles, ever. Can you find? Then Mukta Sangha will say, prisoner naam Sahasreshu. Among thousands of prisoners, hardly one will endeavor to follow the 4 regulative principles. Out of thousands who endeavor to follow, hardly one will actually be able to follow. You say, very rare, Prabhuji, in the jail to find somebody who has never broken the 4, very rare. Then I will say, okay, a follower of the 4 regulative principles is almost impossible to find. Why? Because I am in the jail. My population of study is jail population. You see? So because we are in the material world, we are seeing only conditioned souls. Here it is very rare to find a devotee. But you go to the spiritual world, only devotees, only pure devotees who have taken shelter of the Antaranga Shakti. And you will never find a non-devotee there. Okay? Hare Krishna. Continue, Prabhuji.
I think we ended the purport, Prabhu, did we?
You were there, you were saying
the last line we read, we can just make an estimate of the number of this.
More numerous. Correct. Okay, so we'll continue from verse 8. So these are very important truths Srila Prabhupada is teaching us. This concept should be very clear in our mind. So therefore we are going through all the purports slowly. So we'll continue from verse number 18, Krishna willing, next week. So next week I am in Cincinnati. So I will tell you what we will do. I will tell you what we will do. We'll do something. But we'll do something. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. Granthara Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Haripur. Hare Krishna. Yes. Shyam Chandra Prabhu and then Nitya Lila Gaurangi Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, and thanks once again for your wonderful session today. Prabhu, I have a question on these three worlds, because in different contexts across Bhagavatam, different cantos, we find that this three worlds sometimes is varying. One understanding is the lower planetary system, that is hellish planetary system, then middle systems, and then the upper planetary systems, three worlds. Elsewhere, we find it is mentioned as Bhur, Bhuva, and Swarga. So there the Patal is not considered at all. Because I think in elsewhere it is mentioned that, so these are two broad, so which one, how do we understand the three worlds,
So in the previous class, when we were reading Prabhuji, the two systems of classification were described by Srila Prabhupada. One is that Bhur, Bhuvar, and Swar. So Bhur includes the planets Earth and below, according to this classification. And Bhuvar is starting above the Earth. And Swar Lok is even the higher planets, like the Satyalok planet of Lord Brahmaji. This is one system of classification. Last time we read that. And another classification is that there are not three, but separately 14 planetary systems, of which there are 7 above and there are 7 below, from Patal to Satyalok, like that. So these two I have read, Prabhuji. And also from this, it was clear that Earth belongs to the Bhurlok. Previously, I thought that Bhurlok is below Earth, but it was clear from last time's Bhagavatam reading that Earth is included in the Bhurlok, and Bhuvar is starting from above the Earth, and Swar is the highest, which is the Satyalok, planet of Lord Brahma. So that's what I read, Prabhuji.
Okay. And this sun, location of the sun, I've read somewhere that it is between Bhur and Bhur, the external space. So now how does then, at the same time, there's only one sun in the entire Brahman, material universe.
Correct.
But the location of the sun is in the space between Bhur and Bhur in the external space. So I was thinking how actually it is radiating its effulgence, or how it is circulating between Brahma Loka to Patal Loka, or is there no sun at all in Patal? It's only for Bhur to.
So probably what I have read in Bhagavatam in different places is that the lower planets, they are very dark. There is no light there at all. Patal Lok, there is absolutely no light. Even in the Naga Lok, there is no light, and the only light is the effulgence of the mani on the hoods of the serpents there. But as we go lower down, I have heard this in Harikatha also of Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, and I have read also that in Patal Lok and the lower planets, there is hardly any light. In fact, Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj was saying in one Katha, when he was describing the Yatana Sharir, in a 6th canto, Ajamil Katha, Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj was saying that in Patal Lok and other lower planets, the only light is the light of fire, in which the bodies of those who have Yatana Sharir are roasted. That's the only light. Otherwise, it's completely dark. So very fearful places. So that's what I have heard, Prabhuji. But again, when we come to 5th canto, we will study this in more detail. My plan is to actually invite Pavaneshwar Prabhu that time, so that he can give a very
that would be nice. Very nice
session.
Yeah. So one last question. Now in verse 9 or 10, we read that some part goes to the belly of the Lord and some part goes to the heart of the Lord, like the subtle elements go to the heart.
And the Avyakta elements go to the belly.
No, but the Avyakta elements is gross elements, right?
Gross elements, but in an unmanifested form when Brahmaji is sleeping. So,
but the gross elements we are leaving behind, no? I mean, as the cremation or whatever it's called, gone.
No. So, gross elements means, so earth, water, fire, air, ether, all those, these are the 5 gross elements. So these gross elements are in an unmanifested state when Brahmaji goes to sleep for his entire night. At that time, the belly, which is the repository of the ocean of all the avyakta material elements, everything rests there. And when Brahmaji wakes up, then again he recreates. And in the heart, the subtle body is there, which is mind intelligence. So belly is the gross elements, but in an avyakta form, in an unmanifested form. And the heart of the Virat Roop is the source of the subtle bodies, desires, mind, intelligence, like that. So belly gross, heart subtle.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nityalila Gaurangi Mataji, then Narahari Dev Prabhu.
So, continuation, Prabhuji. So, souls go to Lord Mahavishnu at the time of partial and complete annihilation, like subtle and.
At the time, so partial, they remain in the Virat Roop only, the souls. But and that was, we read that. But when there is complete annihilation, Brahmaji dies and the Brahmanda is completely annihilated, then with the inhalation of Mahavishnu, everything enters into Mahavishnu through inhalation and also through the bodily pores, Romakup. They enter into Mahavishnu and everything becomes unmanifested, again, avyakta. And then when exhalation takes place, then again there is creation of the Brahmanda and Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu, then Brahmaji manifests in each universe, like that.
So, Prabhuji, difference between partial and complete annihilation is that the Brahmanda itself, the universe is going to be still there, right? In partial.
Partial, yes. Brahmaji is just sleeping, so there is no activity. It's like a city at night. Everybody is sleeping, offices are closed. So like there's no activity going on. You cannot go buy tickets. You cannot go to a shop and buy anything. There is no activity going on. Everything is like as if unmanifested. And then as soon as it's morning, again, there is chaos, the activity, people are going out, the shops open, businesses open, like that. So Brahmaji sleeps, there is no activity. And then it's like Pune in the afternoon. Everybody sleeps. Just joking. Everybody, the shutters are down. But, and then Brahmaji wakes up, then again the universe is abuzz with all activity. But complete annihilation is when Brahmaji dies. And then the complete Brahmanda is finished. And everything enters into Lord Mahavishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu.
Okay, thank you. And one more question I had is the internal energy we say when we say Lord's internal energy, Antaranga Shakti. So that is Brahma Jyoti also, that is Radharani also, that is Lakshmi Devi also, right? It is all different based on one's situation, right? After liberation.
Correct. So the internal energy or Antaranga Shakti is also called as the Chit Shakti or the spiritual potency. And Bahiranga Shakti is the marginal potency. The Bahiranga Shakti is the external potency. And the marginal potency, as we read in one purport of Srila Prabhupada, is an offshoot of the internal potency. So it is also spiritual potency. But this potency, the marginal potency, it is called Tatastha because it's at the margin of spiritual and it's at the interface of spiritual and material. So it is a choice, either to go in the material realm or to be in the spiritual realm. So the Antaranga Shakti, internal potency, there are different names for it. There is the name Chid Shakti, spiritual potency, Swarupa Shakti, and then it has those divisions also, Samvit, Sandhini, and Ladini. Like that. So that is the internal potency. And
Brahma Jyoti also.
Absolutely. So anything that is spiritual is internal. Anything that is spiritual is internal. Only exception being the Jivas. Jivas are spiritual, but they belong to the Tatastha Shakti. But anything that is spiritual, anything that is serving Krishna, anything that is in contact with Krishna is product of the internal potency because it is giving pleasure to Krishna, or it is the existential potency, or it is the Chit Shakti of Krishna. So Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini Shakti, they are all internal potency. Jivas, marginal potency. And anything that is material, anything that is subject to vikar, anything that is subject to transformation, like this material realm, always going through cycles of creation, maintenance, destructions, Shrishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Shrishti. So this is all Bahiranga Shakti, like that. Whereas in the internal potency, there is no vikar. There is no shrishti, sthiti, pralay. There is no destruction.
So, Prabhuji, what is there in this Brahma Jyoti? I get this question. Sorry for taking time. There is no activity, there is no relations, it's
so
spiritual.
In Jaiva Dharma, what I have read in Jaiva Dharma of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj explains about Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti is an abode, and Lord Krishna also describes Brahma Jyoti in Bhagavad Gita. It is an abode of unlimited happiness, unlimited bliss. So sometimes we say that there is no bliss in Brahma Jyoti. That is not, we say that because we are comparing it to the bliss of devotional service. Then it is, Rupa Goswami says in the beginning of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is lagu, it's insignificant. But still Brahma Jyoti is the abode of pure spiritual existence, and it is Krishna's own bodily effulgence, and many jivas are there in the Brahma Jyoti. And just like Krishna is effulgent, even the jiva is effulgent. And the praman is in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, that when Aghasur was killed by Krishna, the soul of Aghasur entered Krishna. When Shishupal was killed, the soul of Shishupal was entered into Krishna, got Sayujya Mukti. And in both these instances in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, it is described that it was effulgent, the soul was effulgent. So all of us as Jivatmas, we are spiritual particles, and we are very effulgent. We are self-effulgent, all of us. But we are covered by material contamination right now. But when Krishna killed Shishupal or Krishna killed Aghasur, the pure soul came out, which was effulgent, and entered. So Brahma Jyoti is effulgent because it is Krishna's own bodily effulgence. But those who want to merge into the bodily effulgence of Krishna, innumerable jivas are also there in the Brahma Jyoti. So that is Brahma Jyoti. It is completely spiritual existence. There is no Bahiranga Shakti there. There is no earth, water, fire, air, ether.
But no service, right? No direct service.
There is no relationship and there is no service. Service comes from relationship. There is no relationship only. It's just unlimited spiritual existence. But there is no relationship, there is no service. And Bhakti Thakur explains there is no karuna also.
Okay.
This aspect of Krishna maintaining the devotee, maintaining Prahlad, rescuing Gajendra, all this is not there. You cannot have a relationship with Brahma Jyoti. It's just there. Spiritual, blissful existence. With Paramatma, Srila Bhakti Thakur writes in Jaiva Dharma. So Brahma Jyoti is just spiritual existence. With Paramatma, there is a form. You can have darshan of Krishna's form in the Paramatma aspect. But again, there is no Leela. The Paramatma doesn't do Leela. He's just a witness. He's giving darshan. So like a deity. So there is no relationship and there is no Leela. But there is Karuna. Paramatma, because he gives darshan out of mercy and the devotee feels bliss. So see how progressively it is getting better and better. Brahma Jyoti, there is no relationship, there is no Karuna, there is no Leela, there is no Sambandha. In Paramatma, there is darshan and therefore there is Karuna. Devotee meditates with great difficulty, gets darshan. Like Narad Muni got darshan of Paramatma when he was a son of a maidservant. So there is Karuna. But there is no Seva. You cannot do any service for the Paramatma. You cannot offer bhoga to the Paramatma. He is not going to eat. He's just there. But then there is Bhagwan. In Bhagwan aspect, there is a relationship, there is Seva, and there is Karuna also. So Bhagwan is...
And Prabhuji, it is rightly said by Rupa Goswami. Brahma Jyoti is better not to go for a devotee. It's because there is no service. So then, yeah.
You lose our identity. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Last question. My old friend, Narahari Dev Prabhu. Prabhuji, kahan the aap? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, I have not been able to attend for some time, but I'm really happy I'm to be back. Thank you. Your association is so enlivening. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, question regarding the 4 types of annihilation. You said, so the first annihilation you mentioned was the partial annihilation, which happens at the end of Brahma's day. And then the second annihilation you said happens at the time of complete, after the end of Brahma's life. And then you also quoted the 12th canto, which is the Nitya, which happens always. What is the fourth one, Prabhu?
The fourth one is even more partial pralay, even lesser pralay, that happens sometimes at the end of different manvantars. For example, at the end of the 6th manvantar, when Maharaj Satyavrat, Matsya Avatar came. So Matsya Avatar, so that time there was pralay. That was like between 2 manvantars, between the 6th and 7th month. So this is occasional. It happens. It doesn't happen between every manvantar. Sometimes it happens like that. And then the 7th manvantar started. And this Satyavrat Maharaj, he was born as a son of Vivaswan as Vaibhava. So that is the fourth type of pralay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you again so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Shamchandra Prabhu, you want to add something?
Yeah, Prabhu, in one of the lectures or classes of our Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, I heard him saying about the pralaya called as Antyantika. So Antyantika is the ultimate, what is that? It happens, it's on the individual basis, not collective basis. So it's like the destruction of the false ego. So that is also there, and it is given the 12th canto. It seems I have not gone through it, but I happened to hear to one of his lectures. In that he is saying there's a Nitya Pralaya, there is a Naimitika Pralaya, there is a Prakartika Pralaya, and there's a Antyantika Pralaya. So the Antyantika, he says, is affecting only that particular person, and that is the ultimate annihilation. That is it happens for the destruction of the annihilation of the false ego. This is what I heard.
That is the beginning of liberation. That's how a jiva becomes liberated, when the false ego is merged, is annihilated. The subtle body is annihilated. False ego means the subtle body. So yes, thank you, Prabhuji, for that addition. Hare Krishna. Sharanagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, that Nitya, you said Nitya annihilation, and so when we leave our body, that is also one of the kind of annihilation. That is what was my understanding.
Yes, the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, that is correct. That is the Nitya Pralay. Every moment the body is getting old. So some tissues in the body are dying, some cells are dying, and then ultimately the body only dies.
Okay, so that all comes under Nitya Pralay.
The Nitya Pralay. And what Shamchandra mentioned, that is when the false ego gets dissolved and the jiva becomes liberated. No more subtle body, no more gross body, like that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Last Satyarupha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, when there are not so many devotees here in this world, then we say Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Then we are including those also in the spiritual world also and giving Jaikar for them.
Yes, of course. Yeah, all glories to all the devotees, and we say Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai. All the devotees, everywhere, in the material world, in the spiritual world, because our acharyas are in the spiritual world. So we say Srila Prabhupada, Nitya Lila Pravishta. Srila Prabhupada is in the Nitya Lila now. Like that. So all the devotees in this world and in the spiritual world included.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you, dear devotees. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhāgavatam ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Haribol.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.